And good morning, everyone. Welcome to this day. It is Friday, March 13th, and we're going to tell you about our show today, or what we know about our show. First of all, we're going to have CEO Jeff Parker here, and he's going to talk about, well, obviously what's going on here in the village with coronavirus. We have a series of questions that have been submitted by residents over the past day or so. So I'm going to be filtering those questions to him, and then Jeff will give us those answers and what they know, and give us some information about what's going on here in the community. Now, we do have scheduled on Robert's Rules Club and a Republican Club. As of right now, I'm not sure they're going to be coming on at all because our building is closed here, so we'll see about that. And then we do have a segment that was pre-taped with Sterling Financial, so we'll be bringing that for you as well. Now, there are no meetings scheduled today, and when I talk to Jeff Parker in just a few minutes, we'll talk about meetings in general and other things going on here in the village. Now, I do want to tell you about the weather, though, because we got rain from today, probably as it stands right now, for another full week on and off. Today, if you're watching us in the morning, it looks to have rain this morning, then tapering off this afternoon, but as you saw yesterday, it was supposed to not be raining in the morning. Of course, we got it. In fact, inch and a quarter at our house, and so far in March alone, my rain gauge shows 2.5 inches of rain so far. So we're making that back up. And look at this, rain all the way through next week, and really looking right now, it looks as though at least until Thursday of next week. So look at morning rain. We may see a little sun later. Saturday and Sunday this weekend, 20 to 30% chance of light rains, then another major storm coming in Monday and Tuesday, and probably into Wednesday. Right now, we're looking at possibly an inch each day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is the day that could be a little bit less, but still maybe even a half inch, but then lingering showers all the way through, probably to at least Thursday of next week. Let's take a look around the state. And everywhere you go, it's going to be raining or snowing around the state. Now, the system we're having right now is a weaker system, so therefore you'll see scattered snow flurries up in the Sierras, probably not a Big Bear at all. Next week, when that Monday system comes in, that's the one that they're going to be talking about and probably sending some sort of alerts about heavy rain and flash flooding in certain areas and heavy snow up in our local mountains. But we'll tell you more about that on Monday, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Trust the experts at Universal Carpet for all your flooring needs. Now get 50% off pet stain resistant and hyperallergenic carpet, porcelain tile, wood, laminate, and waterproof flooring, and complete kitchen and bath remodels. Plus get 5-year 0% financing, including free installation and free furniture removal. Our convenient showrooms are just minutes away in Irvine and Huntington Beach, or call 866-402-2747 for our free in-home shopping service. Universal Carpet, the low price leader for over 20 years.
If you asked me what I wanted to be when I was a child, I would have told you a princess or an astronaut, maybe even a chef. But things change. I may not have become a princess, but I found someone who treated me like one. I may not have become an astronaut, but I still got to see the world. I may not have become a chef, but you would never leave my house hungry. The Emeritus Institute has kept my love of learning alive. Every day is a new adventure, and the Emeritus classes have made it possible to keep living out my dreams. Sign up today and begin your life's next adventure.
Are you or someone you know facing financial challenges from unexpected emergency expenses? The foundation of Laguna Woods Village can provide the temporary help you need. Meals on Wheels, adult day services, dental services, medical alert services, and ambulance contracts. Contact the Village Social Services at 949-597-4267 to see if you qualify. Neighbors helping neighbors. The mission of the foundation of Laguna Woods Village.
To help stop the coronavirus, the CDC recommends to avoid contact with people who are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze with a tissue, then throw the tissue in the trash. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects and surfaces. Stay home when you are sick, except to get medical care. Wash your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. For more information, contact the CDC. A message from Village Management Services.
And welcome back. Well, right now I have our village CEO, Jeff Parker, and he's going to be going through what's going on here in the village and the precautions that VMS is taking. I'd like to welcome you. With all due respect, I really like you. I'm not going to shake your hand. Not that I'm worried about you, but you know what? We want to set the protocol here, right?
Absolutely.
So, of course, yesterday there was a statement was made, and we're talking about exactly sort of the parameters going on here in the village. The website's being updated, is updated frequently, so people can get information there. But before we go into some specific questions that people have sent in, just kind of give us some of the precautions and what's happening. I think the number one thing people want to know first, because of their schedules, what's open, what's not open, our clubs meeting, and that sort of thing.
Okay, let's start off with how we got here.
Yeah.
Obviously, the coronavirus is showing more and more signs in California. So the governor declared the other day that every organization basically in California should limit their access to 250 people meeting in any one area. But with that, he also indicated that he wanted to promote and execute that groups that are at risk, which are anybody over the age of 60 or anybody that has a health condition that is very susceptible to this virus, that they limit that to 10 people. Based on that, no larger group than 10. Based on that, we had an emergency meeting in which we pulled our staff together and then met with the board of directors at a meeting, and then along with that, the presidents, and we moved forward with what we call phase 1 of our plan.
Right.
And that was to, in our opinion, recommending that we shut down all of our GRF facilities, all of our community centers. And the reason for that is that we oftentimes have large groups meeting there, and we didn't want to put our community at risk with regards to that. So as of 5 o'clock last night, the community centers are closed at this point in time, other than this actual community centers for individuals coming into resident services. They can walk,
all right, that's a good point that
they
you
can
made.
walk in and still do their business at resident services on the first floor.
Okay, all right. That's the one thing I wanted to ask about,
Sure.
because we even had somebody who works here who came in today and people were questioning, why are you here? But that's good to know. But all clubhouses and club activities in those clubhouses have been canceled.
Have been canceled, postponed. The exception to that are our outside activities.
Okay.
Golf, tennis, pickleball as an example, and swimming. The only building that is going to be operating at what I'll call as norm will be Clubhouse 19. It's the restaurant.
Okay.
It's a contractual agreement with a restaurateur, and they will be in operation. We are asking them to limit any large groups or having any kind of social events that have anything larger than normal. But at this point in time, we're saying to our individuals in the community, be careful, be cognizant of what's going on out there, and if you don't have to go, don't go.
Okay. Now, what about, I don't know if you can answer this at this point, but any events that Recreation has set up? For instance, you know, we've been announcing like in a couple of weeks they're going to have that luau dinner. Now that is, I think it was scheduled for April 1st, if I'm not mistaken. At this point in time, are you giving we're just looking at a certain few weeks at this point and extend it if needed, or?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
We actually recommended and put into place a 30-day moratorium for our activities. And we're going to be reassessing on a week-by-week basis. So if things get better, we certainly can move to a more open system. But if not, we're going to evaluate for sure and make a decision in 30 days whether or not we're going to continue this.
Okay, but at this point in time, those type of things,
30 days.
30 days. And the other question I have, I know there are some clubs here that meet in people's homes now and then. Is that's up to them?
That's up to them.
Okay.
If they're meeting, again, what we're telling our residents and all our information that we're getting out to them is the smaller the group activity, the better. Stay in your home as much as possible. That is the best health information that we're getting from the Orange County Health Department, which you had a member here yesterday speaking about that.
All right, one other question before we get into these questions. I'm going to ask one as far as staff goes. And I don't know if you folks have sat down and talked about this. At what point do you not want staff here? Now, let's first talk about individuals. if a staff member thinks they might have just a simple cold, you know, they got the sniffles, where normally they'd probably come into work. At this point, do you have any official recommendation, or you're still evaluating?
Yeah, we've met with all of our department heads and recommended that in cases where you're seeing an individual who has symptoms of a cold or especially a flu, ask that individual to go home. Recommend that they stay home until they have no fever, especially. And if it's just a cold and they're not running a fever, try to get over that cold before you come back. And it's just a precautionary point of view. And we'll make sure that we have it adequately staffed for the operation.
Okay, and that's a good point, because as we've been hearing really throughout the country, that for some people who may or may not have some, you know, the coronavirus, their symptoms are less than a normal cold. You know, it's almost asymptomatic. However, they're a carrier. So, okay, yeah,
it's something that we need to be careful about.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask you that. Now, residents have been questioning, put in some questions, and you can do that at info@lagunawoodsvillage.com. I'm not going to name the people, which I'm sure you wouldn't want me to, but let's just kind of go through these. First of all, you did say outdoor centers. So what about garden centers and things like that?
Any activity that's outdoors is okay. And we want to actually, in a lot of ways, walking on your own, getting outside is a good thing. So we want to encourage you to do that. Again, just not in large groups.
Right. Okay. Now this one you already answered. Somebody asked about Restaurant 19, and they have a luncheon that's going on there today.
That'll be okay.
That'll be okay.
And we won't take any other action with regards to that operation unless it gets more severe with regards to the direction we get from Orange County Health or the state.
Okay. Here's one. The library, will that be open?
No, it is going to also be closed, just as like all the community centers.
Okay. And you did already talk about, this question was about classes being held, and like in this case, somebody asked about the Pine Room, but all those have been canceled.
Correct.
Okay. And I'm just going to go through these,
that's
even
fine.
if we talked about them. Now here's a very important one, the emeritus classes.
Yes, we've already been in contact with the emeritus program, letting them know that we're canceling today's programs, and luckily, in one way, they're going on spring break next week.
Yeah.
And so we're going to continue to evaluate, just as I said, the 30 days, but they know of our 30-day program right now. We won't be having anything until that time expires and we're comfortable that we can continue.
And obviously that would include their speakers that they have this time of the year every Friday in the Performing Arts Center. Okay. And I would, for those of you who maybe take regular Saddleback classes or emeritus classes outside of here, look at their website. I would assuming they're following what everyone else is doing.
You can see it throughout the communities that they're closing operations. We haven't heard specifically that they're closing theirs, but if everybody stays in line, you're going to see more and more closures of facilities.
Yeah, I know our school district, my daughter went to school today, we're Saddleback Unified. My wife is a teacher there. And at this point this morning, they're still open. My wife is actually having a meeting at the district, like she does every once a Friday a month, and but we're expecting them to close. And of course, my daughter is thrilled about that. So she is. All right. Will meals continue in the senior center? You know what? This is, when I look at this, this is really for the Florence Sylvester Senior Center.
It is. So
now, they were here on Wednesday, and at that point, they were still having their luncheons. Have you heard any different?
I have not, and they should contact them directly to get that information.
Okay, yeah, definitely do that. I believe their number off the top of my head is 380-0155, but you can go online to Florence Sylvester. I would assume that they're not. They're very precautious over there. So we'll put that one aside, and I'll get that information. We already know about the Performing Arts Center, at least for 30 days.
Correct.
And, you know, you'll come on another time and talk about the status of what's going to be happening with the Performing Arts Center.
Correct.
So we don't know a firm date on that yet, or do we?
No,
Or if you don't want to talk,
we're still shooting for May as the time for we're going to get into the renovation. The bids are out. We haven't received all the bids, so once we open the bids up, then we want to get going on it.
Okay, so it's possibly, we'll see what happens. The Performing Arts Center could be closed from now on to the end of the year,
for a
just
while,
depending.
yes.
Okay, we'll get more updates on that. Separate subject, but still, people want to know if they can reschedule things. in this one. Okay, now this is a question I think I would ask of my association. Does this mean there will be a refund coming to the monthly dues?
No decision's been made on that at this point in time. Obviously, we're looking this at a very short-term period of only 30 days,
right.
and we hope that's all that's going to be.
Okay.
So the refund concept, although it's been talked about a little bit, there's been any final decision made by GRF or any of the mutuals recommending to GRF on how it would handle that.
Okay, but a very valid question.
It's a valid question.
Services, a lot of them will be closed, and we'll see what happens with that. Very true. Okay, very important one. At this point, any reported cases that you know of as of right now?
None in the village reported cases that we know of, and as far as I know, only 6 in Orange County at this point in time, which is very low compared to other counties in California.
It is.
So we'll knock on wood and keep that going because it's important that if these activities such as Disneyland closing, us closing, all of these operations that are closing their facilities can lower the threshold of this spreading, the more successful we'll be.
Yeah. Now here's a question I think is also, why are the swimming pools still open? And this person is saying in their question, water carries both, can harbor viruses and bacteria.
When we talked to the Orange County Health, we asked them about that, and at this point in time, we thought it was still an outdoor activity that would be beneficial for our community to keep open. We have a lot of swimmers, and we wanted to keep that physical activity going. At this point in time, if we get any additional information from the California Department of Health or Orange County Health, we would potentially take a different route on that one. But at this time, we're keeping it open.
And of course, people can make their own decision.
Sure.
The pools are open at this point.
Yeah, we don't recommend anybody going down there that's sick.
Yeah, exactly. And that's all the time, folks, not just right now. Because I know in the past you've mentioned and other folks have mentioned, you know, if you're just in a normal time, if you're not got a cold, if you're sick, people in this community are susceptible even more to those type of things. Right. Stay away from activities and all. That's, you know, all year. All right, and again, this was kind of the same question about the pools. So in general right now, people can go online and get this information, and updates will be made accordingly.
Right, and we're going to keep ongoing updates with regards to information that we're getting from both the state and Orange County Health with regards to the coronavirus, so that'll be on our website. We have a special button right there, and when you come on the website, coronavirus, you can click that and get that information.
There we are, right there.
And so that's great. I think we want to be as informed as we can with our community and get the information out there. We just encourage you to follow the recommendations, stay home, don't get out there unless you really need to.
Right.
One of the things I did want to mention, and wasn't a question, our transportation program is still going to continue. Okay. Because we know that that's an important resource for our residents to get to shops and to get to stores and get their needs. Yeah. So our transportation program will continue to run.
All right. Thank you very much, Jeff. Always good to see you.
Good to see you. As usual.
Hope I see you again soon under better circumstances. But I know that if need be, you'll pop back on here and give us any important updates.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate it. Thank you very much, and we'll be right back.
Do you hear but not understand? I have good news for you. A proprietary system for verifying hearing correction, Verified Best Speech Clarity, is now available through the All-American Hearing Network. This means hearing improvement can now be verified and documented. Your individual hearing correction is guaranteed in writing. Call today to reserve your complimentary private consultation and experience word clarity dialed back into focus on the spot. Try AMP, the world's smallest hearing aid at an unbelievably small price, just $750. It's ready to go in one visit, comfortable to wear, and virtually invisible when worn. Yes, you can now have verified best speech clarity. Hear every word. Call today to reserve your complimentary private consultation and experience word clarity dialed back into focus on the spot, risk-free.
Family-owned Capistrano Toyota, our new VIP equity department wants to buy your car paid for or not. This exclusive buying program includes complimentary no-obligation appraisal at your home or at our dealership. Top market dollar paid for any make or model. Any loan balance will be directly paid off if there is one. All DMV documentation handled for you, and your equity check will be delivered to you. Interested? Please call Capistrano Toyota at 877-857-0124 or visit online at capotoyota.com for program details.
To help stop the coronavirus, the CDC recommends to avoid contact with people who are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze with a tissue, then throw the tissue in the trash. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects and surfaces. Stay home when you are sick, except to get medical care. Wash your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. For more information, contact the CDC. A message from Village Management Services.
I'm Dr. Leif Loberg, and I want to welcome you to our brand new facility here in Laguna Woods. We've been serving the community since 2006, and we're super excited to bring you an awesome team of doctors, Dr. Jackson, Dr. Asaturians, Dr. Vian, myself, here to serve you in our brand new state-of-the-art facility. Call us in the morning and we'll get you in the same day, guaranteed.
I had been with another hospice for my husband, Ed. After about 2 months, I thought, they're not doing much for me. So I went to the computer and brought up the list of hospices, and there was OC. Their response was immediate. They did everything. They had all their ducks in the row, and that's what I was looking for. It was comforting till the very end, and then at the very end, the last 3 days, you know, it was continuous care, and nobody ever left him.
Well, Joan Milliman made it in, and she is, of course, with the Roberts Rules Study Club. And I do want to tell you, of course, their meeting is canceled for this month. However, you are going to just talk about different things within Roberts Rules. And this time around, we're talking about officers and elections, right? So welcome.
Thank you.
Great to have you here today.
Nice to be here.
Yes.
I swam all the way. It was.
You swam all the way, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm here for comic relief.
Okay.
Well, sometimes Robert's rules are a bit comical. Yeah. We were talking about officers today, and you know, it's important to elect proper officers, but not only that, they need to know what they're doing.
Right.
So the president is always in charge, and if the president doesn't know the rules, it's difficult. But the president, you know, is in charge of following the order of business and facilitating the whole meeting. Mm-hmm. They don't vote usually on what's going on, but they have to be neutral and move the meeting along.
You're right, yeah.
You know? And of course, we know about the vice president who takes over whenever the president can't do it. But there's another officer that sometimes is there, and that's the president-elect. Now, we don't have that here, but the president-elect is someone who is elected as the next president.
Right.
And they will automatically be the next president the next year. We have that in city council.
Yeah, you do.
You have a mayor-elect, and that means that person is the next mayor.
Yes.
So that officer, in our case, here in the village, is left out. The secretary is probably the second most busy officer in the whole staff there. Secretary usually notices the meeting and has to be aware of all the rules and brings in the bylaws in case anybody has to refer to them, or all the rules and regulations they have to be aware of, in addition to taking notes on the minutes. And so, in fact, Robert says that if you have just a president and secretary, that's all you need to do business in a meeting.
Interesting.
You don't have to have a treasurer. You don't have to have a vice president to do an initial meeting. Yeah. And in fact, some of the smaller meetings, you don't need anybody but a president and secretary.
Yeah, so interesting.
The treasurer, if there is one, and there usually is, he or she reports about how the bank account's doing every time, and the reports are filed. In addition, they usually look at a yearly audit of the books. So they keep track of all the monies. And the directors themselves, get their authority from the bylaws of the group, whatever it is. And we get our authority from our bylaws and from the trust and from several other documents as far as directors are concerned. Once in a while, we have an executive director, and we have actually 3 executive directors on the boards. They are ex officio. Jeff is one as the CEO. Siobhan is one as the COO, and Parker is the third one as the CFO.
Right.
So those 3 are members of the board. They can participate in discussing and bringing issues, are important things that they know that need to be brought up to the board when they're doing voting.
Right. Yes.
So that's
and that's true even of major corporations, although they're run a little bit differently.
Right.
But often a CEO is reports to the board.
Yes.
In many cases, let's say they are, for instance, Jeff Bezos of Amazon owns so much stock.
Yeah.
It gives him a lot more clout than if they just had
a
CEO sitting there. But in those cases, in general, a CEO is elected, to be on, give them a certain
They're
term
elected by the board, actually,
Yeah.
not by the membership usually.
Yeah.
They're just kind of automatically accepted as part
Right.
of the board.
Yeah.
Which is good. And of course, the final person that is very important is a parliamentarian. Now, we don't happen to have a regular, well, we have parliamentarian people available
Right.
to our boards. And a parliamentarian can be someone from the outside, an official, registered,
Sure.
parliamentarian, and that person works with the president, but they have no power. They can't make motions, they can't make rulings.
Right.
But they do say what the correct procedure is. They keep up on what motions, where you are with the motions. Some of them have little note cards they actually pushed out for the president to read the right words to say it's been moved and seconded that, and if that's necessary. They have to be aware of the governing docs if they're someone from the outside. And of course, the advantage of having someone from the inside, someone on the board, is that they have all that awareness. Problems are they may be seen as having a prejudice.
Yeah.
Which is a problem, but anyway, it's sometimes it generally is good to have someone who's there, at least tracking the rules and understanding the rules, and having someone that the president can turn to when necessary, because we can really get in the weeds with all the amendments.
Right, right, and in fact, at a recent meeting with JRF, somebody asked about the Roberts Rules and all that. Now, they happen to have their lawyer there that day, Kelly I can't think, Richardson, thank you, who's very well known. In fact, he used to write columns for the Orange County Register about it. He does?
Yeah.
But he said, yeah, you folks follow Robert rules, and
it's required.
Yeah, and he went through, some people had some questions, and he talked about, you don't want to get into doing this because this can open you for problems, or, so he was acting obviously as their lawyer, but also as an advisor there, and also because he knew Robert's rules pretty darn well. So did another person on the board as well.
Right.
Anthony Liberatore.
Yes.
They were both saying, you know what, we got to step back a moment here and take care of this before we take care of that.
Yeah, so they know the order of procedure,
Yeah.
and we get people who get so anxious to get work done, or they have their ideas presented, that they jump. And sometimes if the chair doesn't realize that's what they're doing, they neglect to stop them.
Right.
So then you have to just, as you say, just pause.
Right. Think of it like a recipe. Where you're cooking or baking, and if it gets out of order, it may seem strange, but
chaos.
it can mess things up. So there you are. All right, nominations. Let's talk about that.
Okay, well, there are different kinds of nominations. We're most usually familiar with nominations from the floor when the chairman opens up the nominations. Nominations for president are now open, nominations so on. Quite often a group will have a nominating committee and they will present a slate of officers that they have nominated and have agreed to run, but still they will accept nominations from the floor then on the day of the election. And in some cases the chair will nominate people. It depends on the bylaws in that case.
That's right.
As to whether that's, and another way is sometimes you get a ballot out. This is not a voting ballot, but a ballot to nominate people, and then that sets up the list for the nominations.
Right.
And sometimes some groups use mail.
Yeah.
If they don't meet frequently and they're far apart, that can be done. So that's different ways to set up the nominations. And of course, elections themselves, well, we're pretty familiar with that. Some voting requires majority. So if a candidate doesn't get the majority, they don't win.
Yeah.
And that can be a problem. So then they have to keep voting until somebody gets the majority. A plurality vote is very interesting. It just means the person with the most votes wins.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be a majority. So is that real? Well, Robert says it's not necessarily the most legal thing to do.
Yeah.
But we often, kids say, okay, who's going to be captain? And maybe there are 5 people, and the most votes, 3 people, 2 people, whatever, win. The last one, cumulative votes, are interesting. If you have more than one person running, and say you have 3 people running, and everybody who's voting gets 3 votes, they can decide to put all their votes on one person.
Yes.
So again, it's the person that gets the most votes, but that's a strange kind of thing. I think they do that at the video club when they're voting for films.
Okay.
They get, say, 3 votes, the different kinds of things they're looking at, and they can put all their votes in one basket or strip them out.
Okay. So in a way, that's like a caucus.
Yeah, you bet it. Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
They thoroughly confuse me.
And we see what happens in caucuses sometimes.
Yeah, we sure do. Most of us are familiar with ballot elections.
Yes.
And when the ballot, this is because you want a secret ballot. You want a secret vote. And the tellers are the people that count the votes and report to the chairman what has been done. They'll tell you how many votes were cast, how many votes are needed to win, and then they'll say, these are the people that got such and such a vote. Voice election is difficult, but that, we all vote for.
That's right.
We yell for whoever, whatever. And election by acclamation is very simple. If there are the set number of candidates and no more seats than the candidates, then they are elected by acclamation, which is what we're beginning to do.
In a sense, our boards do, when they're voting on resolutions, in a sense, they're doing a voice election. They're doing it electronically because it's put on the board, this person voted whatever.
What's nice about that is you know who did what.
Right. So in a sense, it is a voice election.
It's really more like a hand election.
But what I'm saying is you know how everyone voted.
Yeah, it's nice, but I like that.
Yeah, I guess a voice would be ayes have it, nays have it.
Ayes and nays, but it's fine if you can if one side doesn't yell louder than the other. So that's kind of what I was going to get at today.
All right, and people can get these. This one is that you have here, The Complete Idiot's Guide to Parliamentary.
This is the book we're following right now.
Procedure, and if you ever want to learn about this stuff, those kind of books, those have been around for years, as we've seen.
Yeah.
And they're really concise and kind of give you good points and in a very easy to follow way.
Right. It's a little bit better than the 700 some pages of the of the actual Robert's Rules. But this guy Jim Slaughter, who is the author, is a well-known parliamentarian.
All right. Very good. Good to see you. Now, of course, again, no meetings. We'll let you know next time they have one. We just shook hands.
Yes.
Thank
All
you.
the best, everybody.
You too. Thanks. We'll be back.
To help stop the coronavirus, the CDC recommends to avoid contact with people who are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze with a tissue, then throw the tissue in the trash. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects and surfaces. Stay home when you are sick, except to get medical care. Wash your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. For more information, contact the CDC. A message from Village Management Services.
Well, I'd like to welcome Dan Oweiler here today from Sterling Financial Advisors. And Dan,
that looks like a Halloween shirt.
it is, you know, well, yeah, a little bit. Yes, it is. It's sort of my fall shirt, but
There
even
you
though
go.
we're into winter. And always good to have you on today.
Good to be
And
here.
let's explain the cupcakes. Why
I
the
don't want
cupcakes
to.
are- You don't want. I can.
I eat too many of
I can.
them.
You know, your son Jason, his wife is Debbie.
Devin.
Devin.
Yeah.
She is looking into getting into the cupcake business,
she
I
started
guess.
a little
and-
cupcake business and
Yeah.
cake business. She does custom cakes as well, and so we brought over a few here for the staff. And,
yeah. I can't wait.
yeah. It's if somebody needs to have some cupcakes or cakes done, she does a great job.
Yeah.
I'm not here promoting the business, but we thought we'd give them a
Yeah.
spot.
All right.
You know,
well,
but
I think that's fantastic.
you can eat 3 or 4 of them today.
Okay, I will, definitely. We got some other ones over there as well that look very tempting.
Right.
So today we're going to talk about 3 Social Security tips that could do more harm than good.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've kind of talked about things in the past and how people maybe go about getting their Social Security
Mm-hmm.
and other things that can look into that.
Sure.
And let's talk about these.
Well, the thing about it is everybody, I would say probably the number one question that we get at our seminar is, when should I start taking Social Security? That's probably the number one. That, and do I have enough money to last me the rest of my life?
Yeah.
Those are the probably the 2 most common questions that we get.
Yeah.
And what I tell people in regards to Social Security is you should take Social Security when you need it.
Right.
Okay.
You said that.
I met with a couple yesterday and they were 61 and 60, you know, and when should I take my, well, they didn't have a lot of income coming in, so I told them to take it at age 62.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they didn't have a lot of assets, and so they couldn't generate a lot of income. And so obviously when they take it is different than somebody that has a pension and lots of assets that doesn't really need the income. They can afford to wait. And so some of the decisions in regards to Social Security, you know, is very personal and individual. And so one of the things that they talk about is can I work when I take Social Security? Well, that resolves around what they call the full Social Security age.
Exactly.
You know, and if you wait till age 66, sometimes it's 67 if you're born after 1955. If you wait till full Social Security age, you can work however much you want. Okay.
Yeah.
It's when you start at age 62 that you get, quote unquote, what they call penalized.
Right. Yeah.
And so, but just because you start at age 62 doesn't mean you still shouldn't work. It's just that there's some things that they're saying because you took early, you know, we're going to take $1 for every $2 that you make.
Right. And I know you have said this too in the past. Right now, that limit, it's gone up to $18,240.
Right.
And, you know, one thing that
As an individual,
you wanted to emphasize is that if you start at age 62, whatever it is, below that full retirement age, It's not like you hit that full retirement age, it bumps up.
It doesn't.
You are now stuck on that.
Right.
And that could result in really tens of thousands of dollars.
Lots of money over the years.
Yeah.
I mean, we've done some analysis from people say, well, should I wait till age 70? Well, we've done some analysis from age 66 to age 70. You know, so if you waited those 4 years, you're getting income over that period of time.
Yeah.
But if you wait till age 70, then you're going to be getting a higher amount, obviously.
Right.
30% higher, basically, is what it is. Well, it takes about, I'm going to say, 12 to 14 years to break even from age 70.
Yes, yeah.
Going forward. So if you're going to live to 82 or 83, you're better off waiting if you can afford to wait.
Yeah.
But if you feel like, hey, you know, at age 82, I don't care if I have that much more money, then take it at age 66. Right. What we find is you probably are going to spend more money from age 66 to 75 than you are from 75 to 85.
Yeah, yeah.
And so having that extra money coming in might do you more good to enjoy your retirement then than rather than waiting to age 70.
Yeah,
so,
or in the case of me, since I had a child late in life, you know, I'm going to be paying for other things still for her, you know.
Well, maybe you could use the extra money.
Maybe I could use the extra money.
Right.
Now, here's something. Talk about states. There are some states that do not tax benefits at the state level, 37 states.
There's some states that don't tax Social Security. Okay. I don't know why the government or federal government hasn't signed off on that.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
But anyway, a lot of people say, well, I'm going to move to Florida or Arizona or one of the states that doesn't tax my Social Security. And that's okay, but sometimes they don't realize how much money it costs to move.
Yeah.
And so if it costs you $5,000 or $6,000 to move, or $10,000, whatever it is, they don't figure that into their overall cost, and the difference on the tax on the Social Security might take 10 years to make that up.
Okay. Yeah.
So the cost of moving should be factored into that, and whether or not, you know, it makes sense to do that just for that reason.
California, we tax on it? We must.
California taxes on everything.
All right. We're going to be taxed on these cupcakes. Now, is the tax rate on, if you know this, the tax rate on the Social Security different? I guess it depends. If you're still working, is that all lumped into your income?
The tax rate is the same. What is different is how much of your Social Security is going to be taxed.
Okay.
So it's either 50% or 85%, depending upon your income.
Okay, got it.
And so I think it's $18,000 on a single. That means 50% of your Social Security would be taxed.
Okay.
Anything over and above that, you know, you've got, 85% of your. So that's just added into your taxable income. Okay. And then you're taxed whatever
rate you're at. Okay.
Right.
So obviously, if you wait to a certain age and your tax bracket and how much you're still working, a lot of times, everything varies.
A lot of times people think I'm going to be in a lower tax bracket when I'm retired.
Not necessarily.
They don't realize Social Security's coming in. Investments are coming in, required distributions are coming in.
You could actually be making more money.
Well, you could be making almost the same amount as you were in your tax brackets. Okay. Maybe it'll be similar.
Now, the other thing is, we talked about claiming benefits while you're still working, and which is again fine if it may be to your benefit once you hit whatever age.
As long as if you work, wait till I had a client, took it at age 62.
Yeah.
Okay? He says at age 66, when I get full retirement age, I'm going to go back to work because it's not going to penalize me.
That's true.
So you can take it at age 62, not work till age 66, go back to work, and then it doesn't impact you.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different strategies. It just depends on which one works best for the individual.
Right, and there's other things involved in there as well. I know that you can be, if you're depending on your age and if you still have a younger child like I do, you could gain some benefits for that child. If
my wife was that way. She was I think there was 8 years between her and her other youngest sibling. And so she was able to get a little bit of Social Security benefit her junior and senior year in high school.
Yeah.
Because her dad had retired and he was no longer working, so she got a little bit of benefit during that period of time.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not suggesting you wait 8 years between them and your last kid, but
no. I think I've had my last kid, my one and only. All right. Well, again, this is something that there's so many variables in here, and as you said, there's no right or wrong for fast and hard rule. It depends on the person.
It really does, and I've recommended people take it at 62. Wait till full retirement, and even wait till age 70 because they have a lot of other assets that they can draw on. You know that from 66 to age 70, Social Security goes up at 8% a year. That's a guaranteed 8% return on my money.
Yeah.
If I have other assets that are earning 4% or 5%, I'm better off drawing from those assets.
That's right.
Letting my Social Security increase at 8%, and then you have a better foundation going forward. So again, it's all predicated on what the situation is with the people that we're working with.
Yeah, a lot of variables, and Dan can help you out with that. And all the folks that are over there. And
I think they've got some things up on the...
They do, yeah. We always put this up, your retirement weather report.
Yeah, it's a kind of a, we call it our weather report because it kind of is forecast for your retirement.
Yeah, and there's graphs and all kinds of stuff.
We put this together and we do some projections, income planning. We analyze your current portfolio in regards to risk and things like that. And it gives us a good foundation going forward that based upon certain interest rates, how much money we're going to make, how much money we need, or it gives people a little bit of a comfort level knowing that they're okay.
Yeah, very good. Always good to see you, Dan.
Good to see you.
You take care.
Don't eat too many of these.
Well, I can't guarantee you that. All right. I don't know. I won't save these for retirement. I'll go right at them. All right. We'll be right back. They do smell good. And welcome back. With me right now is the General Sales Manager of Capistrano Toyota down there in San Juan Capistrano. I'd like to welcome Sean Mosley. Sean?
Hi, how are you doing?
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Pleasure being here.
Yeah, great to have you here today. And I think a lot of people know about Capistrano Toyota. In fact, when Sean was here and walked in, where's the baby? Right? But we all know that, the Hogans.
They're all home with the Hogans right
Yes,
now.
Yeah. And I love the story on that, that whenever they get, maybe a new offspring, they become the new face of it,
The new face of the dealership.
Yes.
Excellent.
Kids get older and they're, well, sorry.
Absolutely.
But it's great. It's a great family-run operation. And, one of the main reasons that you're here today is trade-ins on cars. And in this community, of course, a lot of times people maybe stop driving, or I think quite often, too, they might have had two vehicles where they used to live. They come here. They don't need that anymore. And, people wonder, what can I do with that? They'd like to get top dollar for it, and this is where you step in, right?
Well, you know what? It's a great program for your community here. And what it is, we will come to them and appraise their car. A lot of people have cars that are sitting on the side that are not running or not quite ready to drive, or they couldn't drive them. And we're very, very happy to come out, give us a call. You can bring it to us. There's no pressure. And we'll be happy to come give them a number on the car, and if they like the number, we'll bring them back a check and take their car.
Now, what about older vehicles? Vehicles that maybe aren't Toyotas, or maybe they're 10, 12 years old. Will you come out or where they can bring the car there and look at anything, or do you have a certain set years?
That's the beauty of it. Any car, any model, any year. I'll come take a look at it. If everything's got a value, I'm always proud to put a number on it.
Okay, that's really good, because I think so many times people don't know what to do. They don't want to sell it themselves. That can become a hassle with the registration, license, and all that kind of thing. Now, you just said that you'll come to them. Is that right?
Absolutely. Just call our number, and we'll be happy to schedule an appointment, and we'll come to your house and take a look at your vehicle. It might take a day for us to schedule. I'll be happy to come out.
And that's very convenient, because sometimes people do not drive anymore.
Absolutely, absolutely, and we're here for the community.
So what's the process like? What do you folks look for? What do you go through? Like you said, it might take a little time, a day.
Well, what we do for our process, we're happy to go ahead and take your name and number if you want us to come to your home.
Okay.
If you want to come to the dealership, we're available all the time.
All right.
But I want to take time out and do the job right for you. So what I'll do is I'll schedule the appointment for the following day. I'll come see you at a certain time that we set up. I'll be happy to look at your car and give an appraisal, see how it runs, the body, things like that, much like I would if I'm buying your car personally.
Okay.
And we're very fair on our prices. So I look at Kelley Blue Book and how it runs and everything, and we want some cars. And I know they have some great cars out there in your community that we could use.
And this is so even if they're not going to buy from you. They're not trading in a car. You're talking about, hey, I don't need to drive anymore. I don't want another car.
No obligation. You don't have to buy our car. We would love you to sell you a car.
Sure, of course.
But if that's the case and you want to buy a golf cart, it's all good.
All right. Now, what about if they have a loan balance on the car?
Well, that's the other part too. We'll be happy to pay off that loan balance. We'll give a figure. For instance, if it was $5,000 for your car and you had a $2,000 payoff, we'll give you a net check for $3,000 and pay the vehicle off.
Okay. So again, they're not worried about that. You get their information, who their finance company was for that vehicle, and you take care of it then.
That is correct. I'll call for the payoff. I'll give you the totals, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Hey, I have a question.
Sure.
And I'm going to throw you a little curveball here, only because what if someone has a personalized plate on that car and they want to keep it or maybe transfer it to the other cars? Can you folks help with that? I know that's not something that's on your list here, but I was curious because I have a personalized plate.
We have a DMV at our dealership. We'll be happy to go ahead and transfer the plate. And if you want to cancel a plate and keep it, we'll file a cancellation for you, and I'll bring your plate back to you along with your check.
All right, that's good, because I know people who like to do that. They want to keep it just even if they don't drive anymore. It's like
it's sentimental.
Like yeah,
of course.
It is. I have a plate from years and years ago from an old vehicle that I love. So even though I don't use it anymore, I'd like to keep it. Well, Sean, with a big weekend coming up, someone can come down there and either see about selling their car to you or maybe purchasing a new one.
That's right. Come down anytime. But I want to tell you, every weekend's a big weekend at Capistrano Toyota. If you come down to the dealership, we're having great sales right now. If you wish to buy a car, I tell you what, we have the best selection of the year. And Toyota is very aggressive about financing. We have rates as low as 0% on some of the vehicles.
Wow.
And we have rebates up to $4,000.
Wow.
So
very good.
Talk about a great time to buy a car.
Yeah, and of course with Toyota, you really run the gamut from if you just want a smaller personal vehicle to all the way up to a Tacoma and so on.
We have a car or truck for everybody's needs.
Yeah, Toyota certainly does, don't they?
Absolutely.
Now, what about, some people want to come down and some people want to purchase, some people want to lease, and that's something you can help out with, maybe talk through what's the differences?
Well, what we do at our dealership, we go ahead and we set up so you can see both what a lease would be and what a purchase would be for that vehicle that you have chosen. And we're happy to work up on multiple vehicles if you'd like. And then you can choose and pick your payment accordingly.
Yeah, that's nice. So if people are going, I can't decide between this model with this trim or whatever, you'll work up possible deals for all of them, and then they can pick and choose what they want.
That is correct. The only pressure at our dealership is in the tires.
Oh. Very good. I like that one. And again, if people have a vehicle that you no longer are using, you'd like to sell, they will help you out with that. The website, very easy, capitoyota.com, and the number is 949-276-6886. And Sean's down there, along with all the folks down there in Capistrano Toyota to help you out. And I've been down there myself. It's a nice experience.
Give us a call or come in and see us and come say hi.
Yeah, Sean, thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
coming on.
I appreciate
Pleasure to
it.
meet you. Hope to see you again.
I'm sure you shall.
Next time, bring one of the babies, maybe.
I probably will, and some donuts.
Oh, donuts. There you go. All right, we'll be right back. And welcome back. I'm going to tell you about our movies coming up and also a string of movies we're going to bring for you on Sunday. But first, today's movie, Friday, we have a movie right now. I mean, to tell you how quickly we get some of these, this is still in theaters, folks. This is Harriet, and it was up for a couple of Academy Awards. Of course, this is the extraordinary tale of Harriet Tubman's escape from slavery and transformation into one of America's greatest heroes, whose courage, ingenuity, and tenacity freed hundreds of slaves and changed the course of history. So, excellent movie, very well done, and of course, based on a true story. There's some things in the movie that I thought, well, is that just made up for the movie? And no, I looked it up, and it was true about her, some things that'll come up in the movie. And she took the name Harriet. Her real name is, I guess her name was Minty or something like that. Well, as she kind of got into this, she changed her name to her mother's name, Harriet. So that's something I learned. Very good movie. You will really enjoy this. And that is today, 2 and at 7 o'clock. Now, Monday movie looks like a real fun one. I have not seen this, but I've been looking forward to it. It's called Knives Out. And in a way, it's sort of based on the story of, kind of like the game Clue. And anyway, this is going to be a good movie. This is Monday, 2 and 6 p.m. And now on Sunday, we're going to bring you a string of movies from 1:30 till 9. We have Judy at 1:30, Maleficent at 3:30, Homeward Bound at 5:30, and Patch Adams at 7, and the Steel Magnolias at 9. All right, we're running out of time. Rainy weekend. Stay in, watch some movies.